Hello everyone. In this lab, we're going to be using Excel to determine measures of central tendency and measures of variations that we cover in class. I will be demonstrating the activities that will be performed to complete your lab. First, let's cover descriptive statistics that is included in the analysis tool pack. In the companion data set for this lab, you have 3 samples. In this demonstration, I will use the same instructions but with a small sample data set. To access descriptive statistics in Excel, click on the tab Data. Towards the right end of the ribbon, you have Data Analysis. If that is not available to you in your Excel copy, refer to lab number 1 on how to activate that. Now, clicking in Data Analysis, we have a variety of functions related to statistics. We are going to use the descriptive statistics. Click OK, and then you have this window. So the input range is basically telling Excel which cells contain your data set that you're going to input to perform the descriptive statistics of that data. I'm going to select the cells from my data set that contains the data. Notice that I select also the row that contains the label. So I'm going to tell Excel that I'm including that. If you do not include the row with the label, then uncheck that part. We definitely dealing with columns, so all the data set is in a column, and automatically Excel fill in the address of the cells that is going to be used to perform the descriptive statistic analysis here. Now, the output options. I need to tell Excel how I want the output come out for the descriptive statistics analysis. First, I want to say to Excel that I would like to put this result somewhere, blank part of my worksheet. You select whatever you want, any cell that is empty to have that outcome showing to you. If you do not select the output range, and then notice that automatically Excel gives you the option new worksheet, meaning instead of putting the result together with your data set on the same worksheet, it's going to show a new worksheet where the results will appear. So I want to show together with my data set. So I'm going to tell Excel where. So notice that once I click output range, it's highlighted that I'm supposed to give it where in this worksheet is going to actually output the results for me. Just select any block or one single cell that there is nothing in it in your worksheet. So for example, I'm going to just select one cell, but again, you can select a group of cells for that. I wanted the summary statistic because that's basically showing what's the mean, mode, and median, and standard deviation in the case of sample that we have here, but also show other results important, other descriptive statistics that are important to the data set. And now I'm going to click OK. So you can see that the output range that I selected was the cell H4, and you can see that's basically the upper left corner of the result. So you can see that the sample has a mean of 5.41666667 approximately. There is a standard error of 0.80, a median of 5, a mode of 3. We're going to discuss mode in a second. A standard deviation of 2.778 and change, and also sample variance. Okay, so this is a result for a sample, and basically it tells me a lot. Notice that it tells me that my data set actually has 12 values. So let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So indeed we have 12. So it also gives you a count of how many values in your data set, discounting the label, right? And also give you a sum, a maximum, and minimum. Notice that you have a maximum and minimum, which is also going to be important for the range that we have to compute. But Excel doesn't have a range function, and that's one of measures of variation we cover in class, and next we're going to see how to perform that. Next, we're going to use some of the individual Excel's functions to obtain the same measures we obtained in the descriptive statistic functions in data analysis. Let's start with the mean. So somewhere here, I'm going to put that I'm going to find the mean of my data set. So the mean, we already covered that before, that it's basically the average function in Excel, average. So again, I'm going to select the numbers or cells that contain the numbers of my data where I want to perform the mean, and then click enter. Notice that I obtained the same value, 5.416666667, that was given in the descriptive statistics that summary. Next one, let's do then the I will skip for now the mode, because you can see that in this data set we have more than one mode. Let me go next to median. So median has its own function, which is median. And again, I'm going to select the data values for that, close parentheses, and then, so notice the median is the same result we obtain from the summary, from the descriptive statistic. And let's move on then to standard deviation for sample. Compute the standard deviation for sample. So for a sample, the function we use for the standard deviation is called stdev.s for sample. And then again, I'm going to select the same data values and then click enter. So you can see I got the same standard deviation for a sample of 2.7784 as in the descriptive statistics summary. Now let's do the work for the modes. Now, because in this case, we see that in our data set there is repeated values, and mode is the value or values with highest frequency, and sometimes we may not have that at all. So if I just enter the function mode, it's going to look for the single value of a mode, even though in this case clearly I have repetitions of value 5 and 3, so they are the most frequent values. So mode is next. Now, in this case, I can right away examine my data set and know that I have two modes. But in the case where you have a large number of values in your data set, and you could not examine right away what it is, so assuming that if there is a mode and maybe there is more than one, you'd like Excel to return that. Notice that if I only use mode and select, click enter, notice it gave me only 3, which appears the most. So there are 1, 2, 3 threes. But also I have 5 appearing 3 times in my data set. So it should give me 2 values, right? It only give me 1, this regular mode function. So let's say I don't know how many modes, so I assume that there is a certain number of modes. So let's assume that there is multiple modes and we don't know how many. So I select a range of cells that I would like the Excel output the modes for me in case I have more than one. And then in the first, let me delete this. So I select a range of cells where I would like Excel to put the results of modes in case I have more than one, but I just don't know how many. So tentatively, I select a range of cells where I tell Excel, hey, if there is multiple modes, you're gonna put those modes here. And then in the first cells, I'm gonna enter the function mode, which is MULT, open parentheses, and now I'm gonna again select the data set where I wanted to find the mode, close parentheses. And because I trying to figure out if I have more than one mode and I want Excel to output that for me, if I just click enter, it's still gonna give me just one. To avoid that, We're still going to use the same function, so let me clear this. So again, a range of cells where I would like to put the modes if I have more than one. And I'm going to tell Excel, hey, perform this function, mode mult, for the cells from here to here, close parenthesis. But instead of clicking enter, I'm going to click Control Shift Enter together, the three keys in your keyboard. Again, Control Shift and then enter. And you can see that Excel is going to fill in with the modes all the cells selected. So Excel output in the range that I selected all the modes that exist in the data set. Notice that the first two are the ones that I expected, 3 and 5. They are the modes of this data set. And the rest was filled out with non-applicable because there is no other mode that can be listed here, and that's fine. Do not try to delete this because this is an array and it's going to give you a message that say you cannot do that, right? So if you want to clear the cells, for example, I'm going to try to clear the contents. Notice that you cannot change a part of an array. These cells, it's composed of an array, and Excel cannot delete just partially. So just leave it alone. So that's one way of finding out what is the mode or modes from your data set. Next, we need also to perform the range. Now, Excel doesn't have a function for range. You can try. So let's start to write range and nothing come up. So, and if you go into insert function, insert a function and search for range, there's nothing, right? So meaning there is no particular function, but we know that range is the difference between the maximum number and the minimum number, right? It's max minus minimum. So notice that we already have what is the maximum and minimum numbers given from the descriptive statistic, but instead of using that, let's actually using the functions of maximum and minimum, and that was covered in the lab that you have to create a histogram, and I believe that was lab number 3. So you can refer to that lab instructions in order to see how to work with the maximum and minimum function. But basically we have I wanted the difference between the max number of these values, and the minimum for the same data values. Right? So you can inspect what is the functions and the address of the cells to be used, and it's correct. So right now I'm just going to click enter, and it's going to tell me that the range is the difference between 11 and 2. As expected, should be 9. You have the basic idea on what you're supposed to do in lab number 4. Of course, lab number 4 has its own data set, which is composed actually of 3 different samples of data. So you're going to perform these task functions for each of the samples in that data set.